Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to ASTV Productions coverage of the 2022 Manitoba Junior Provincials from the Pan Am Pool in Winnipeg, Manitoba. I am your play-by-play commentator for today's swim meet, Graham Forsyth, joined by my color commentator for today, and Bo West. Bo, it is the final session of the 4 sessions that are taking place here at the Manitoba Junior Provincials this weekend. Should be some exciting swimming to see here today once again.
Yeah, we're looking for these swimmers to give it everything they got left here. The final session on Sunday morning, and then I'll be done. And we're looking forward to the next championship season here coming around the corner. We got these swimmers today trying to get the last chance to qualify for the Manitoba Saskatchewan Championships coming up in mid-March, and then on to Westerns and trials and whatever other championships we got in the summer. So this is the last chance for Mansask, and we're going to look at some of those times today and see how close we can get.
Taking a look at the events that we got here coming up, the first two, the girls and the boys. This is only one event, and they will be competing in the 400-meter freestyle event. There will only be 3 heats for the girls in this one, as well as only 2 heats for the boys. But what are you looking for? You know, just as a spectator, as an analyst, I guess, at this point, in terms of what these swimmers need to do in these races coming up in the 400-meter.
Well, the 400 is a longer distance event we got at this meet. Normally in pool swimming, the longest event would be the 1500. That's not offered at this event. So the 400 freestyle here is the distance event at this meet, and we'll see who is more tailored to that kind of distance swimming versus a lot of the speed races we've seen prior to this weekend. So we're looking for swimmers that have that endurance, have been working hard through the pandemic on their cardio, aerobic capabilities. So it'll be interesting to see who's got it.
So you can see on the screen in the right, high right corner here on our screen, we got the scoreboard up of the racers that will be competing. In lane 3, it will be Ava Timpug. In lane 4, Callie Oliver. In lane 5, it will be Kennedy Chambers. In lane 6, Marie Joyelle. And in lane 7, a swimmer that got switched into this heat is Gabrielle Bergeron. Just taking a look at these swimmers, who are you keeping an eye on as a swimmer that could take this first heat coming up?
I think Callie Oliver in lane number 4, she's sort of a late comer to the sport. She swam when she was younger, and she went away and did other sports, and now she's kind of coming back to it, and she's making some improvements very quickly here. So I'll keep an eye on her, and then as well as Chambers in lane 4 for Mance. Obviously lane 4, you're the favorite going in. All eyes will be, on lane 5 as well. All eyes will be on those 2 middle lanes. But you never know. We saw a lot of surprises outside lanes taking the win yesterday and the day before. So a lot of stuff has happened over the pandemic. Some of these swimmers might be entered in old times from 2 or 3 years ago, whereas some of them may have more recent times. So it's really, really hard to tell right now because we don't have a lot of recent history. So we're in for some surprises for sure.
And just taking a look at the seed time, of course, Callie Oliver in lane 4 coming in with the best time out of all these swimmers coming in to this heat. She finished with a 5-minute 51.08 second time coming in as her seed time. 2 girls from the SEAL Swim Club coming into this event. Of course, Ava Timpug and Callie Oliver. The Manta Swim team, the Manta Swim Club with Kennedy Chambers in the 5th lane, the Manitoba Marlins with 2 swimmers, Marie Joyelle and Gabrielle Bergeron in the 7th lane. So taking a look at it, we are going to be starting up at 8:40 will be the time of the first race. And with this being the final day, for these swimmers, do you think that they're gonna that type of urgency that they're gonna have to get the best time that they can is gonna set in?
Yeah, there's going to be some urgency for sure. This is going to be their last chance, and usually the last day of the meet, we see kids step up and lay it all on the line. They got nothing to save it for, so they may as well leave it all in the pool today. So it'll be exciting. What we're looking here is trying to qualify for Mansask. For 13-year-old girls, the cut for Mansask is 5:14.89. So there's quite a drop for some of these girls. The 14-year-old cut is 5:05.45. So we see the first heat here. They have to drop a lot of time, but as we get closer to heat number, the second and third heat this morning for the girls, they're going to be a lot closer to those standards, and that's what they're going to be keeping an eye out for. they're going to be watching the scoreboard, see if they can get under that standard and get a chance to compete at Mansask here in a couple of weeks.
And you can see here on the screen now, there are the swimmers, and they are getting ready to get set here for the first heat of this Session 4 event here on this Sunday morning. First heat out of the girls 400-meter freestyle coming up at 8:40. So we are shortly about to get set underway here. Of course, as you can see on the screen, these are the swimmers that will be swimming to start off. And only 5 swimmers in this event. But taking a look at it, what has impressed you the most about this weekend so far, Bo? About just these swimmers, how they've been able to perform here?
Well, they've been really resilient. We haven't had a lot of chances to race, and I'm really happy to see how these girls have, and boys have hung with it through the pandemic, coming in here, getting up on the blocks, and working on all the little details. When you haven't had a lot of meets, you might quite often will miss a start, miss a turn or something like that. But coaches have been working hard. These swimmers have stepped up, so we'll see what they can do in the last session here.
And the whistle's blowing here. The announcer announcing the first event of the day. This is the first heat in the girls 400-meter freestyle event. And it is event 31 here to kick things off here on this Sunday morning from the Pan Am Pool in Winnipeg, Manitoba. And the swimmers are off. In lane 3, it is Ava Timpug right now, still in the water. She finally gets out and starts her stroke. Leading right now in lane 5 is Kennedy Chambers of the Manta Swim Club. But a lot of competition behind her, of course. Here on the push-off back in lane 7 now it is Gabrielle Bergeron who's in first, gaining on her, and I believe taking a slight lead now might be Marie Joyelle in the 6th lane.
Keep an eye on Gabrielle Bergeron out in lane number 7. She's the youngest competitor at 12 years old in this event today, so she's assured the gold medal, assuming she doesn't get disqualified, which I'm sure she won't be. She will get the gold medal for the 11 and 12 category. And she's out fast. Maybe a little bit of inexperience. We'll see if she keeps it up. Sometimes the young swimmers get excited and tend to forget how long of a race this is. So we'll see if she can hang on to it.
Marie Joyelle out in front right now. Following behind her in 2nd is Gabrielle Bergeron in lane 7. And in 3rd right now in lane 5 it is Kennedy Chambers. Gaining speed on her. Making up some distance in lane 3, Ava Timpug. And in last place at this point in this race is Callie Oliver.
And for these swimmers, this is a marathon, not a sprint, so nobody's out of this race yet. It's very early on. But lane 6 here is really setting the pace, and she's looking strong.
And, of course, that is Marie Joyelle out in front at this point. First one to turn back here in these next 50 meters of this race. On the way back, it is still Marie Joyelle in lane 6. That is out in front in lane 7, Gabrielle Bergeron in 2nd. But looking at lane 3 here, Ava Timpug looking to make a move into 2nd here as this race goes along.
Yeah, this is a 150 mark. Let's look to see what's going to happen after the 200. Quite often coaches will tell their swimmers to negative split, meaning try to swim faster in the second half of the race than the first half. And so we'll see if any one of these girls are going to try to push it on the third 100, put themselves in a good position before the sprint to the finish.
It is Marie Joyelle on her way back now, the leader in this first heat of the day in the girls 400-meter freestyle event. In 2nd, still in the 7th lane, Gabrielle Bergeron, but gaining on her, Ava Timpug in lane 3. Those are the top 3 at this point. In lane 5, it is Kennedy Chambers, who is in 4th, and in last at this point, it is Callie Oliver in lane 4.
Yeah, Callie Oliver has had lots of speed this meet. Like I said, maybe doesn't have the same training background, and that may show up a little bit in the 400 here. Certainly, Marie Joyelle in lane number 6 is looking very, very strong. It looked like she's been picking it up after the 200 turn. So she's trying to get that negative split in, make a move here, and put herself well ahead of the rest of the field.
And she continues to put distance from her and the second place swimmer right now in this event, who is Gabrielle Bergeron. But right now making a move into second in lane 3 is Ava Timpug. But Gabrielle Bergeron also keeping pace with Timpug. It will be interesting to see off this turn who ends up having the advantage into second place and who will try to catch Mari Joyelle for first place, who is out in front by quite a bit at this point.
Gabrielle Bergeron falling back a little bit. That may have been that speed on that first 25. She's paying for a little bit here later in the race. Ava Timpug took it a little easier up front and building her way into the race, but you never know. The youngster over in lane 7 may have a blasting last 100, and let's see what she's got left.
Still Mari Joyelle out in front by quite a bit at this point. Ava Timpug trying to distance herself from the swimmer in the 7th lane, Gabrielle Bergeron, at this point for that second place spot. Will be interesting to see how much distance that these two swimmers out in front in the 7th and 3rd lanes will make here. And that is Gabrielle Bergeron in the 7th lane with a strong push off the wall on her turn. And she's looking good for second place at this point if she can keep it up.
Yeah, she's looking really good, really kicking into the next gear here.
Mari Joyelle still the leader out in front. Gaining a bit of distance on her, though, is Gabrielle Bergeron in that 7th lane. And it looks like Gabrielle Bergeron has that second place in her fingertips at this point if she can keep it up. But Ava Timpug won't go down without a fight. Looking at it, the battle for 4th place at this point in the 5th and 4th lane between Callie Oliver and Kennedy Chambers. Getting first in this race in lane 6, Mari Joyelle. In second, Gabrielle Bergeron. In third, Ava Timpug. And coming down the stretch here in the final 25 meters of this race is Oliver and Chambers, who will get it. It's going to be close for 4th, and it will be Callie Oliver getting 4th place in this race.
And Gabrielle Bergeron with a 5:21.93. She actually got under the Mansass cut for the 12 and unders. That cut was 5:29, so she snuck under that by about 8 seconds here. So she will be going on to Mansask right here in Winnipeg, competing again in about 3 weeks. It's exciting for her.
Exciting times for Gabrielle Bergeron. We are now into the second heat of the 400-meter freestyle for the girls. And in lane 1, a strong start here off the dive from Ariana Arcaro. And Ariana Arcaro has shown a lot of good things this weekend here, Bo.
Yeah, she really has. She's got her teammate, Michaela Arpello, in lane number 4 as well from the Seals. Michaela is in the running for the High Point trophy. So not only are there gold, silver, and bronze medals for individual placements in each event, there's also a High Point trophy for each age group, where you collect 5 points for a gold medal, you get 2 points for a silver, and 1 point for a bronze. So throughout your 7 and 8 races here, you collect points for a High Point trophy. And Michaela put herself in a very good position. Let's see if she can sneak a few more points to her account and put herself in the lead for that High Point.
In the 3rd lane, currently the leader in this race is Bryn Curtis of the Manta Swim Club. In 2nd place right now in lane 1 is Ariana Arcaro. In 3rd place in lane 4 is Michaela Arpello. But it is Bryn Curtis with the early lead here in this race.
Bryn Curtis out in the 1:11. Bryn Curtis is 14 years old, so she's looking for a 5:05.45 in order to qualify for Mansask. And she's on pace for that so far. There's still a lot of racing left to do, though.
And gaining on Bryn Curtis is Michaela Arpello. In 3rd, still in lane 1, is Ariana Arcaro.
This is where you really see the advantage of being in the middle lane, especially if you can get out front a little bit. You got a good visibility to the whole field and see who's sneaking up on you and who's falling back.
And almost neck and neck at this point. Just a bit ahead is in the 3rd lane, Bryn Curtis, but gaining on her is Michaela Arpello, as mentioned. That battle for 3rd right now between the 1st lane and Ariana Arcaro. And in the 5th lane of Charlotte Sage, And looking at this, a lot of talent in this heat right here, Bo.
Yeah, if you watch Michaela's turn, watch her underwater. Her perfect streamline off the wall. She's kicking 3, 4, 5 dolphin kicks off of every wall, really giving her an advantage. You see her coming out 6, 7 meters here, and she might go into the wall just slightly behind and coming out maybe even ahead. So it is very tough to do in a long race like this. Your lungs are going to be screaming towards the end of that race. You want to come up for air, but she's tough. She's staying under, getting a good kick out.
And it's close right now between
make sure everything's up to date.
Bryn Curtis and Michaela Urpello. Michaela Urpello jumping out to the lead now in this race at this point. And looking at lane 5, Charlotte Sage having a strong race for herself. And making a move into that third place spot. But it is Michaela Urpello leading on Bryn Curtis right now. She is slightly ahead.
Yeah, we see now the Manta swimmer in lane number 5. Charlotte Sy moved into third place. Her teammate Emma Gallant over in lane 6, trying to sneak in there for a medal.
In lane 4, it is Michaela Urpello leading this race. And on to the next turn here. And
we're at the 300-meter mark, so we're going into the last 100. Michaela's looking for the 5:05 standard to get her in a position to swim. And these two girls are pushing each other. They're both going to help each other get there. They put themselves in a very good spot to get under that 5:05. But they're going to have to keep pushing here in the last 60 meters, make sure they get under that standard.
Trying to keep pace in the third lane is Bryn Curtis, but is Michaela Urpello here getting stronger and stronger as this heat has gone along, really showing her endurance here. In the second heat of the day, it says the third heat on the board because this was supposed to be the third heat originally.
Charlotte Sy has got a pretty strong grip on the bronze medal, but we've seen a strong move from Ariana Curry out here in lane number 1. She was out fast, slowed down a little bit in the middle of the race. Now she's trying to make a charge right on the last 25. Let's see if she can catch up. She's got the legs at the end.
Taking first place, Michaela Urpello. In second place, Bryn Curtis. But for third place, it will be Charlotte Sage. In fourth place will be Ariana Arcaro, who started off as the leader in this race. Fernandez in the second lane getting 5th. Gallant in the 6th lane getting 6th. Davis Weitzel getting 7th as she was in the 7th lane. And it will be Mila Heschuk here. Finishing off her swim, she will finish this heat in last place.
She got a best time of 5:50. See if she can sneak in under that. And she did. Best time by 5 seconds. She can be proud of that.
For these swimmers, obviously coming last, but being able to beat her time there, definitely something that you got to be proud of if you're a swimmer, being able to beat your time.
100%. And just because you come last in the heat doesn't mean you're last in the event, right? So you got to race the clock. You got to race yourself. Because there are multiple heats, and really how you place in the heat doesn't really matter. You gotta race the clock and race the swimmers at the same age group in all the other heats. So
in lane 5, off to the lead to start things off here is Isadora Pedrosa, but now gaining the lead on her by just a bit. It is close actually between Mariam Gardano and Isadora Pedrosa, and it looks like Pedrosa currently in the lead.
Yeah, this is the final in the 15 and over category. For 15-year-olds, the cut for Manchester is 5:00.86. For 16 and over, it's 4:57.86.
And right now, Pedrosa in the 5th lane, trying to keep ahead of the swimmer in lane 5, who is Mariam Gardano. In lane 3, Mika Tankula, who was in 3rd place, and in 4th place in the 6th lane, Abby DeBellin.
We've seen a lot of Abby DeBellin this week. She's had a lot of races, been a lot of relays as well, a lot of finals. She's racking up the hardware.
Out in front in this heat, in lane 5, Isadora Pedroza. In lane 4, Miriam Gardano. Still in second, a strong push and turn off the wall to head back for Isadora Pedroza. In the 3rd lane, in 3rd place, Mika Tankula. And Abby DeBellin still in 4th place and last place in this heat.
Are we coming up to the halfway point? Let's see who's going to pick it up on the 3rd 100. Got Isadora looking to break the 5-minute barrier, get herself a ticket to Mansask out in 2:22.4. She's in a very good position. Let's see if she can hang on.
It is Isadora Pedroza still out in front, trying to keep her distance, but still keeping up with her in the 4th lane, Miriam Gardano of the Manitoba Marlin Swim Club. Pedroza of the Manta Swim Club in the 5th lane. And it is close in this race right now between lane 4 and lane 5, and Pedroza in lane 5 and Gardano in lane 4. Pedroza with a bit of an advantage right now in that 5th lane over Miriam Gardano. And
very, very close race. They're keeping a close eye on each other. Bilateral breathing. Make sure they're watching each other on both ways, both lanes here. If you're only breathing to the right, say if you're lane number 4, you're only breathing to the right, you're not gonna see your competitor on half of the race because you're only breathing to one side. So doing a bit of bilateral breathing here, it helps you keep an eye on your competitors.
And it is a close one here in this 4th heat, which is really the 3rd heat here, the final heat of the girls 400 meter freestyle event.
Yeah, Miriam's taking the lead. She made that move on the 3rd 100, as I mentioned earlier, trying to put in a negative split, put herself in a good spot. We'll see if Isadora's got that speed on the last 50 here, coming into the last 50 at the turn. See what they do coming home. It looks like Isadora is really making a move here. And she's got some jets.
Strong push there from Isadora Pedroza.
She stopped early. She miscounted. Now you got to do an extra lap. Just missed a couple of seconds sitting on the wall. You thought you were done. This is painful. This hurts.
This could prove costly for Pedroza, and Gardano with more of a lead than she's really had this entire race, and it's going to be tough. Can Pedroza get another strong push here to make it ahead of Gardano? Gardano looks like she's going to take it, and an error here from Isadora Pedroza to put her behind.
She still got under the time standard, so that's the most important thing here. Obviously, it became a silver instead of a possible gold. But she got under the 5 minutes, got her time standard, so she'll get another crack at it. Unfortunate error, but it happens. In the longer races, normally at the bigger events and longer races, they ring a bell for you for the last 50, so you know where you are. They don't do that in the 400. You're going to have to do your own counting, and that hurts.
Coming up now, the boys 400 meter freestyle event, and there will only be 2 heats. The first heat that was supposed to go, those 3 racers that were in it moved into the 3rd and final heat, but this is the 2nd heat, but really the first heat of the day in this 32nd event for the boys 400 meter freestyle. Starting off here in the lead, it is in lane 3. It is Tam Doan. Lane 7, Cooper Klein as well. And not much separation here in the first 50 meters of this race.
Yeah, it's very close. This is the 14, 15-year-old final at Junior Provincials here. These kids are looking to try to get the time standards from Manitoba as well. For 14-year-olds, we're looking at 4:53.10. And for 15-year-olds, you're looking at a time standard of 4:42.84. So that's what they'll be looking up at a scoreboard as soon as they touch the wall, see if they got under that standard. Get the privilege to swim again in a couple of weeks here in Winnipeg at Mansask.
Now off of the turn, it is Tam Doan still in first. In second, right behind him, Cooper Klein. And who are some swimmers you're looking to, be in the top three in this heat potentially?
Well, Tam Doan's got sort of almost a classic catch-up freestyle. You see that a lot with distance swimmers. Got a two-beat kick. You don't see a lot of kick there. So he's got a nice economical stroke here, and that usually serves you pretty well in a distant event. See a lot of swimmers in the longer distance events have a bent elbow on a recovery above the water, and that just helps them be nice and relaxed on the recovered part of the stroke. When you're watching the 50 freestyle and you're watching the best 50 freestylers in the world, they swim more of a straight arm. It's a more powerful stroke, but it's not as economical, and you really pay for that so in the longer races. So a lot of these guys, nice bend elbows, nice relaxed recovery when you're not doing the propulsion part of the stroke.
Tam Doan still out in front in lane 3. Making some good time right now in lane number 6 is Jacob Bell. Moving into the third spot, Vlaas Kasim in that 8th lane, making his move into second off of that turn, and he still has second place in his hands.
Yeah, it can be hard to see sometimes if you're on lanes 1, 2, or 3 to see all the way over to lane 8. So Tam Doan may not see Vlaas Kasim over in lane 8 make his move here. So it'll be interesting to see if he's going to be able to sneak up on him. Certainly put himself in a good position.
And Tam Doan, a nice turn and push off the wall there. And it is Moaz Kasim in the 8th lane in second place here.
And you're watching Tam Doan, he's strictly breathing to his left. So on the last 25, he's not going to be looking the other way. He's not going to see them. So he's going to really just have to put his head down and go as hard as he can. He's not really going to be knowing where the rest of the field is. And they're very close.
It is very close indeed here. Tam Doan in the 3rd lane and making his move into first place at this point in the 8th lane. As you can see there is Moaz Kasim. And it is him and Tam Doan who are top 2 right now in the 6th lane. At this point it is Jacob Bell. There's Moaz Kasim, who is...
We have... Oh, he also miscounted. Oh,
miscount there.
Yeah. He's got another 50 to go.
And what are the odds that we see it in back-to-back heats?
Yeah. They'll be having a math lesson at the Mansa Swim Club on Monday. I can guarantee you that. There'll be some bonus laps here. But he's got a little bit left in the tank. This race is not over.
Tam Doan making a strong push out in the first. Moaz Kasim, will that miscalculation cost him? Both swimmers coming down to the end here in the final 25 meters of the race, and it is Tam Doan benefiting from Moaz Kasim miscalculating his distance that he had left to go. Coming in third will be Jacob Bell in the 6th lane. But once again, a miscalculation costing the swimmer that was out in front heading into the final 50 meters.
Yeah, the good news with a time of 4:41, he's still got under the time standard of 4:42, just barely by the skin of his teeth. So, but it cost him the gold.
Coming up into the next heat here, and it will be the final heat for the boys 400 meter freestyle event.
Yeah, so we have the 4 middle lanes here, which is the 16, 17, 18-year-old boys, and what they did, they combined the heat with the 13, 12-year-olds just to save a little bit of time here this morning. And so these are actually racing for different medals here. The middle 4 lanes are racing for their own set of medals. Lanes 2, 7, and 8 are going to be racing for the 11 to 13-year-old medals.
And out in front in lane 5 is Tanner Sanders. And Tanner Sanders right now with a good lead over the rest of the competition. In lane 3 at this point, it is Evan Stebner, who is in second. In the 6th lane, it is Alex Wang in third. But it is Tanner Sanders right now out in front. Taking a look at lane 2, it is Rim So Unkechika who is out in front. And this is a very impressive swimmer here. He's put up some good performances this weekend in Unkechika.
Yeah, he really has. He's had a very good meet. He seems to be competing in everything from the 50 to a 400, so very well-rounded as well. He's not afraid to try anything. So that's a good trait to have.
And of course, Unkechika, Van Den Hever, and Cambly, all of them being younger than the rest of this competition. That is Stebner, Perry, Sanders, and Wang, as Unkechika and is the only 13-year-old out of Cambly and Van Den Hever, as those two are both 12-year-olds. But out in front right now in the race in total, in lane 4,
he's coming up at the halfway point. He's at the 200 mark here, out in the 2:07.
Sorry, it's Tanner Sanders out in front in lane 5.
Tanner Sanders is 17 years old, so he's looking for a time of 4:31.63. He's going to be well under that based on his early pacing here. We got some 16-year-old. We got the 16-year-old standards of 4:35.77. That's what you'll be looking for. And for the younger swimmers, the 12 and under time standard is 5:33.54, and for 13-year-olds, it's a 5:08.52. And if you're wondering where I'm pulling these times from, this is the Manitoba Junior Provincial Meet Package. These time standards can also be found on the Swim Manitoba website at www.swimmanitoba.mb.ca. So there's a wealth of information on there: records, rankings, meet schedule, as well as time standards. Have a look at that.
Now here's a question for you, Bo. Like, talking about preparing for a meet, obviously a lot of preparation, I'm assuming, could go into it. But, tell us about, what the preparation goes into, what you coaches do as coaches to get the swimmers ready to go for a meet like this that we've been seeing the 4 sessions this weekend.
Yeah, it really varies a lot depending on what type of swimmer you are. If you're more sprint-minded or you're more distance-minded, the coach is going to have to differentiate that as the season go on, and continue to do that right into to get closer to the race. But these swimmers would have put on a lot of work over the Christmas holidays. They would have done a lot of meters, and then as you get closer to the meet, you start working on shorter distances, a bit more speed, a bit more rest and recovery. They call it taper. So they're going to be tapering when they get close to championship meets here, and really put them in peak form for good racing.
Well, looking in peak form right now, it seems is Tanner Sanders in lane 5, absolutely dominating this heat at this point.
Yeah, he's had a very, very good meet. He's going to come in well below that time standards, and he counted right. Very nice one.
Coming in with a time of 4:20.09 is Tanner Sanders. And it will be Evan Stebner coming in at second, finishing over 13 seconds more than Sanders put on his time in this heat.
Yeah, you got the Manitoba Marlins cleaning up the podium here, the first, second, and third. Alex Wan from Mansa in 4th place.
And looking at this, Rimso Unkechika with dominance from the competitors that he is competing against. Of course, the two 12-year-olds in this heat along with him. But it will be Unke Chika who will finish in terms of the age group that he was in coming in, finishing with the best time out of those other two, which are Van Den Heaver and Cambly. And it will look like Van Den Heaver.
We see a late charge here. He's going to run out of real estate. He needed another couple of meters to catch up there. But yeah, and that's Mansa finishing 1, 2, 3 in the 11 to 13 age group. So they're cleaning up the medals on that age bracket.
Now into the 100-meter breaststroke. And there will be 6 different teams in this event here coming up. The only lanes that will be unoccupied are lanes 1 and 8.
So what we got here is a combined heat with para swimmers and able-bodied swimmers, all racing together. They will be broken into different categories based on their abilities and their age. 100 breaststroke.
Meaning they'll go there and back 2 times on the turns and laps. And right now, out in lane 4, it is Gianna Paletta of the Manta Swim Club. Followed by, in the 5th heat, Sophia Heschuk. In 3rd at this point is Alexis Liebrick.
I got a very close race for 3rd here.
Through the first 50 meters of this race, it is Gianna Paletta out in front. In 2nd still is Sophia Heschuk in the 5th lane. And in 3rd, it is closer between Alexis Liebrick and in lane 3 of Avery Blue. But it is Tiana Paletta who is out in front. Looks like she will take this heat in 1st place. Coming in 2nd will be Sophia Heschuk. There you have it, Tiana Paletta finishing in 1st. Heschuk coming in 2nd. It will look like Alexis Liebrick will come in 3rd.
We got our 2 para swimmers still going here. Long tradition of para swimming in Manitoba. We got Canadian Hall of Famer Tim McIsaac, was a blind swimmer. Went to 4 Olympics starting in 1976, 1980, 84, and 88 for para swimming. Him and his coach pioneered the flip turn for blind swimmers, where they have a stick with a ball at the end. They get a tap on the head as they're getting closer to the wall. They know where they are. It's that flip turn. So he's really the Michael Phelps of para swimming here in Canada. Multiple, I think he's got over 20 Olympic medals, and really pioneered some of the moves in that category. He's swimming on a weekly basis still out in the Centennial Pool in St. James. He's still still going strong doing his laps out there. So.
And that must be so tough. I mean, being blind is as tough as it is, but when you go into the water and you swim in an event to be blind, I mean, can't imagine how many challenges that brings.
No, he's really amazing to watch. When you watch him in practice, he tends to just occasionally just run his hands along the lane line to make sure he's staying on the right side of the lane. You don't have to worry about it in the race, but in practice when there are other swimmers in your lane, to make sure you don't running into anyone, he's just tapping that lane line every now and then, make sure he's in the right spot. And the coaches will put the workout on the board. They'll explain it. most of the time you have to explain it multiple times. But Tim, obviously, he can't see the board. You explain it to him once, he gets it, and he goes on in his workout. Really an amazing swimmer.
Going into this race now, it was in lane 7, Lindgren from Paris Storm finishing the best time out of the Paris swimmers that were swimming. Lily Rich finished in last there, and we're on to the next heat for the 100-meter breaststroke. And there will be a full pool of swimmers here.
Yeah, this is the last heat, the sort of mixed age group before we go into the sort of the finals for each age group where they split them up. This is still the mixed heat.
And these swimmers are off. And always impresses me how long these swimmers stay in the water before they start their first stroke of whatever stroke they're doing.
Yeah, in breaststroke you're allowed one underwater pull out and then one kick before you have to come up and break the surface. You don't have the 15-meter rule in breaststroke like you do in other strokes where you have to surface from your underwater dolphin kick before the 15-meter mark. In breaststroke you can go past that, and some of them do, but you can only do one pull and one kick. The Brandon Bluefin girl over in lane number 7, Allison Gauthier, really nice streamline, really nice dive she had. Watch how far she gets from each turn. You allow one dolphin kick, one pull out, and one kick, and then you got to come up.
And out ahead right now in lane 7 is Gauthier. And that is Allison Gauthier out in front, but gaining on her and could potentially be in first off the turn is in lane 4 of Elsa Saltel. And coming up here, it's going to be close between Saltel and Gauthier. Also making moves in that second lane is Rosie Bowles.
Rosie Bowles, normally a butterflyer. She'll be swimming the butterfly events in Mansaskin distance freestyle. She's trying out the breaststroke here. Not her strongest, but she's making a good run for it.
And it is Elsa Saltel that ends up touching the wall first. Gauthier coming in at second in the 7th lane in this heat. And Rosie Bowles coming in at 3rd place as she was in the second lane. But, you know, just talking about it, I noticed that some swimmers take way longer to surface before they come up, taking those full 15 meters in some cases. And some swimmers, it takes a bit less time. What is the advantage between, you know, coming up early rather than staying in the water as long as these swimmers do after the dive?
Well, if you got a really strong push-off and a really tight streamline, you can stay underwater and carry that speed. But if you don't have a good streamline, you don't have a strong push-off, you're losing that speed very, very quickly, and you got to come up and swim. So what we got here is the final for the 10 and under swimmers in the 100-meter breaststroke. There's 3 of them. So all of these 3, they're making sure they're doing all their 2-hand touches, illegal turns, because if they avoid being disqualified here, they'll be coming home with a medal. And we got Julia Metcalf out in the lead. I called her Grace multiple times yesterday. That's her sister's name. I'll never hear the end of that. It's Julia Metcalf out in the lead, and she's looking really strong.
I mean, you deal with so many swimmers that sometimes you're going to mix them up, right, especially when they have last name.
Well, I tell you, that's probably the hardest part of this job, and I give you credit. Growing up in Denmark, everybody's last name is Jensen, Peterson, or Hansen, and you're coming to Canada here, and as an immigrant myself, I appreciate the multiculturalism, but it's difficult with the names.
It is. Some names, they're not pronounced how they look.
No, I know.
And sometimes it's like, wow,
yeah,
would have never guessed.
So apologies out to the listeners here if we butchered your name or your kid's name or your grandkid's name. We're up on the mezzanine here, the Pan Am pool. Feel free to stop by and educate us on the proper linguistics. We're all ears and looking to get better. We're doing our best.
Yeah, and we're not trying to butcher names, by the way. It's just the way it goes sometimes. So, yeah, like Bo said, come up and let us know if we did, in fact, screw up your kid's name. But it is Julia Metcalf with a very strong performance here to take the gold in this heat.
Yeah, excellent swim for Julia. for the Manitoba Saskatchewan Championship, there is no 10 and under category. There's only 12 and under. So for these younger swimmers under 10, it's very, very hard to qualify for Mansask at that age group. So this is really their championship. This is their big event. And we need to get some more of them into here. So we need to have a look at those time standards again to see how we can give a few more swimmers the opportunity to come in here and to be part of this in the future.
Going into the fourth heat, 2 remaining after this one, but it will be, I believe, the under 12 final.
That's right. It's the 11 and 12-year-old final here in 100 breaststroke. Looks like we got a no-show out in lane number 8. So 7 of them.
And off to a good start here in the fourth lane is Dela Cruz. Gaining on her in the sixth lane is Brooke Pelican.
Dela Cruz from the University of Manitoba Bison's technically a beautiful breaststroke here, really getting her head down into streamline position, driving off her legs, getting her hips up. Very, very nice stroke. We got a good program down there at the university for the Bisons, led by head coach Vlasimil Cherny. Vlastic grew up in the Czechoslovakia, former Czechoslovakia, defected in the 80s, moved to Canada, got his Canadian citizenship and competed in the 1988 Olympics for Canada, and he's now making his living coaching these swimmers over at the university, both the varsity team as well as the club team, and they've done extremely well over the years. Not the biggest club in Winnipeg, but always have swimmers at the highest level. And this event, especially the breaststroke, the leading swimmer in Manitoba at this point is Kelsey Wog, who competed for the Bisons, Manitoba and Canada at the Olympic Games here, making us all really proud. She was in Tokyo for the Olympics, competing in a breaststroke event. Did very well.
Dela Cruz coming in first, Pelican in the sixth lane, and second for this heat, and Jane Gorchinski for the Manta Swim Club in the third lane, coming in at third in this race. Coming up next, this fifth heat for the girls 100-meter breaststroke event. And will be a full pool of swimmers here coming up. And they are off.
This is the 13 and 14-year-old finals. In order to get to Mansask, we're looking at a time of 1:27.08 for 13-year-olds. Looking at a 1:24.47 for 14-year-olds. They'll be trying to get that cut.
In lane 5, who has looked strong all weekend long, Bridget Sage, definitely looking to be in contention for first in this heat. Michaela Erpello in the 7th lane, also keeping good distance. And looking at the 4th lane as well, Ann Magnus, also right behind Bridget Sage, into the final 50 meters of this race now.
Michaela over in lane 7 really taking advantage on the underwater. She won the 400 freestyle earlier this morning. She's trying to rack up some points for the High Point Trophy. She's in the running for that. She would love to get 5 points here, but it doesn't look like she's going to get there. It looks like Bridget Sage got this in the bag, unless something drastic happens the last 25.
And it is Bridget Sage out in front, trying to catch her, Erpello and Magnus, but it will be Bridget Sage with a strong performance in this race here in this heat to get first place. Ann Magnus coming in lane 4 at number 2, winning the silver, and Michaela Erpello in lane 7 winning the bronze in this heat. Coming up after this next heat, we will have the boys 100-meter breaststroke event.
Yeah, we got the last heat, the 15 and over final.
And here we go. 8 swimmers set. to get started here for this sixth heat for the 100-meter breaststroke for the girls. And they are off, leading now. It is tough to tell. Very close race off the start so far. Let's see who can distance themselves just a bit. And that's looking like in lane 5, it is Apres Zenon who has the early lead here. So look on the turn back. It is still Apres Zenon. Nice turn and push off the wall. And looking like she's making some strides, trying to get into second place and have sole possession of it is Barcina Martinez in the third lane for the Manta Swim Club. And looking at lane 5, it is still Apres Zenon out in front, making a strong push here. Trying to get into that first place spot now is Barcina Martinez. All depends on the push here on the turn back.
You got Ana Barcina Martinez in lane number 3. She's a French immersion student here. She speaks Spanish at home, very good at English, and she's trying to learn sign language now.
Oh.
Yeah, we need to have her up here and educate us on the logistics. But
Yeah.
very good student, smart young girl, and she's racing hard here as well.
See, that's impressive. Not only being, bilingual, being able to speak English and Spanish, but also knowing sign language as well. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, she's working on it. She's a good student, and she's working on it in her swimming as well.
Well, coming up now, it's going to be, I'm assuming, what's this race here coming up to start off?
This is the boys 100-meter breaststroke now. This is just one of the early heats.
And they are off. Let's see who gets the advantage here to start off. It is looking like in lane 4, it is Messias Kessie, who is out to the early lead. In second here in lane 3 is Kaylin Booth. And in lane 5, Riley Anderson is in last. It's looking like right now Messias Kessie with a good hold on first, and all these swimmers, Manta Swim Club swimmers, so some friendly competition going on, I'm sure, to see who comes top in this race. But also interesting that all 3 swimmers in this event are different ages.
Yeah, that's what they do in the early heats here. The later heats in the events, they put the same age groups together for what is the expected final, and then anyone outside of that top 8 in their age group, they get mixed in the earlier heats. That doesn't mean they're not have a chance at a medal. They're just not expected to. But we have seen surprises. We saw yesterday someone in the early heat, I think it was 200 freestyle, taking a gold medal out of one of the first heats instead of out of the expected final. So it can happen. These guys got a shot at it as good as anyone else, and that's the beauty of this sport. You're racing the clock as much as anything else.
Messias Kessie out in front. He is going to take this race. And it looks like in second place, that will go to Kaylin Booth in the third lane. And in the fifth lane, Riley Anderson will be coming away with third in this heat. The times have not shown up yet. And finally do. And you see Messias Kessie there coming in just under a minute and 40 seconds in his time. All swimmers in that heat, Bo, under 2 minutes.
Yeah. And what we got here, the next heat is the what we have. They moved Ronan from his 10 and under final heat into this event because he was the only 10 and under swimmer entered. So he's racing some of the older ones. As long as he stays clear of disqualification, he'll be going home with a gold medal.
And young Ronan West, let's see how he does here against the rest of the older swimmers in this heat.
Yeah. He loves the breaststroke. Takes after his mother in this event. His mom was an Olympic swimmer, 1996 Olympics in the 200-meter breaststroke. Maiden name Riley Mance. You'll see that over in the Manta Swim Club banner with the other Olympians. So Ronan is taking after his mother here. natural strong kick. We'll see where he comes in.
Out in front here, start things off, it is Dennis Mosienko. And I do recognize the name, but haven't really seen much of Mosienko this weekend from what I can remember.
He looks like a natural breaststroker. Definitely making a name for himself here.
He is definitely cruising through these final 50 meters, looking to finish off strong here in the final 25 meters of the race. Young Ronan West out in the 8th lane, of course, behind the rest of the pack, but looking for a gold medal for himself. Just has to not get disqualified, but it will be Mosienko coming in at first. And for second place here, it's going to be Xalan Cheater. And in the 5th lane, in third place, that will go to Christopher Nesbitt. And looking at the time, what will Ronan come in at?
Well, we'll see if he gets under or close to the 2-minute mark. He was out in the 55, just over 2 minutes at 2:00:71. I think this might be his first time swimming this event, so yeah, he'll be happy with that.
Great stuff there from Ronan West. Obviously, having a Olympian in the family, being a mother to Ronan and your other kids, how much has she, helped along the way for these kids in swimming, along the way in the family?
You're sort of on the fence a little bit of whether you put both of us are swimmers, and mother's an Olympian. Those are pretty big shoes to fill, so you debate whether or not you want them to be in swimming, but everybody's got to learn to swim. That's a life skill. So that was there was just no question that they had to learn to swim, and then from there, they take it where they want to take it.
Right.
We try to be involved here in different aspects with volunteering or whatever we can do, and we try to leave the coaching to the coaches.
Right. And you are right about the life skill. Everyone may need to swim at some point, no matter what it is.
100%. That's something everybody should be encouraged to do. It is a life skill, I tell you. Going to the beach is a lot more enjoyable when you're confident that a 9-year-old can be hit by a 6-foot wave and pop up and still go out for more, right?
Yeah.
You can relax knowing that they're comfortable in the water. So certainly encourage everyone to put your kid in swim lessons. And even if city lessons in the city are usually full, but check out your local swim club. If they got some basic skills, hopefully as things open up a bit more here, we can get them involved in the program, meet some new friends, and learn those life skills, and who knows, they may be competing in this meet in the next couple of years.
Stephen Bannock finishing in first place in this heat. He was in the 2nd lane.
Yeah, strong breaststroke swim from Stephen Bannock here. He's normally a butterflyer. He's going to Western Canadian Championships at the end of April in the 200 butterfly. But he's showing some breaststroke skills here as well.
We will now be moving into what was supposed to be the 5th heat. It still is classified as that, but it is, in fact, the 4th heat that will be seen from the boys 100-meter breaststroke event. And looking at it, who pops off the board for you in this race?
Well, this is a 12, 13-year-old final. We've seen the name Matthew and me a few times here for the University of, from Mansa. Obviously Isaac Hune here is making a name for himself. Very strong breaststroke program at the University of Manitoba Bisons. So he's really looking strong. Getting his head down, good streamlined, strong kick. Again, getting his hips up at the end of the kick. Beautiful stroke.
And it is Hune out in front for UMen in the 4th lane. Coming in second at this point is Quang Lee, the Manta Swim Club. In third is Hayden Grenko but it's going to be tough here to catch Isaac Kuhn.
He's looking for a time of 1:24.32 in order to compete in this event at Mansask, and I think he's on his way to get that cut. We'll be seeing him again if he gets there. It's going to be close.
Isaac Kuhn closing in on the finish here. Taking a look at who will finish second here. It's looking like it's between the 5th and 3rd lane. Who will get it? Lee or Mai? And it will be Kwang Lee edging out Matthew Mai. Was in the 5th lane for that second place spot in this heat. Matthew Mai coming away with 3rd. And then the rest of the field following suit afterwards. They finished. And coming up now, strong swimmers once again in this heat. And what will this be? Is it the 14-15 final?
That's right. This is the 14-15-year-old finals. We've seen the name Harlem Lau from the Marlins a few times here in lane number 5. We expect him to have a strong effort here.
And in the first lane, pretty sure he picked up some hardware yesterday, Rylan Glore. But right now, it is the 5th lane of Harlem Lau, who is out in front. In second at this point, in lane 3, Morgan Terra. Also close in the 6th and 7th lanes here to each other are Osmond and St. Laurent. But in that 5th lane, it is Harlem Lau, who is still in the lead. See if he can get a good turn and push here off the wall.
Yeah, it looked like his stroke rate was just slowing down a bit. Let's see if he's got a little bit left in the tank here for the last 25.
Has to finish. Coach is yelling. Some very intense times here at the Pan Am Pool in Winnipeg. Let's see who gets it. It will be Harlem Lau coming in. An impressive race for him.
Very good swim.
Coming in at second, Drew Culleton in the 4th. And coming in at 3rd in the 3rd lane, Morgan Terra. And now moving into this one, and one swimmer I think pops off the board here, Natty Vaserman in lane 5. Let's see how his breaststroke is in this event.
Yeah, it looks like lane number 4 is missing this morning. So we got 4 of them battling for the 3 medals. But yeah, Natty Vaserman with the early lead. Super high stroke rate.
And it just seems with Natty Vaserman on, his strokes, he's not only got the quickness, but just the power in his strokes as well.
Yeah. If you can keep a high stroke rate and still get a little bit of distance per stroke here, oh, that's really money. He's looking good.
And so fast off the wall. He is absolutely cruising through this race here. And really does not look like he is slowing down whatsoever. In the 3rd lane, in second place in this heat, is Ian Gurney. In 3rd is LeBlanc. It's in the 6th lane. First name being Alexander LeBlanc, but it will be all Natty Vaserman once again. And his impressive weekend continuing here in the 100-meter breaststroke for the boys.
Yeah, 1:11.19. He'll be moving on to swim this at Mansask in a couple of weeks. Very good swim.
And for Natty Vaserman, a 16-year-old, was the youngest out of the swimmers in this heat, even though it's only a 1-year age difference, but still a young gun in that heat, showing off his skills. we'll now go into the 200-meter backstroke. And I got to say, from my time doing swimming lessons, Bo, the backstroke was probably my favorite.
Yeah, it is a lot. It is for a lot of newcomers to the sport. It's a little more comfortable. You can breathe the whole way, right? So
I think
these other strokes, your breathing is restricted. Trying to do your sport while holding your breath is difficult.
Yeah.
Backstroke is a little more comfortable.
I think that's probably the biggest appeal is you can breathe easier throughout. So
Yeah, that helps.
definitely helps for sure. And looking at it, the leader to start things off here, the first 50 meters of this race is Mila Saltel. But it's Chisholm Unke-Chika who is right with her, along with in lane 6. My apologies. It was Kaya Joyal who was in the lead to start things off. She's in lane 4, and in lane 6 it is Mila Saltel who
Yeah, it's a very, very close race here. It is still early, though. And what we have here now in lane number 1 is Michaela from Mansa, who is the only 10 and under swimmer. They moved her into this heat, but this is her final. She can avoid disqualification, which can be tough for 10-year-olds in backstroke. Making sure you got that stroke count. You don't turn over too early on your stomach. You don't want to bonk your head too many times on the wall either. It is that's tough, but so far she's doing well.
Out in front in this race, it looks to be Unke-Chika in that 5th lane. In second, right with her. Long is in 3rd. In second, Kaya Joyal. In 6th, Maya in the 6th lane. And in 3rd at this point, Mila Saltel. But it is Chisholm Unke-Chika leading the way here in this race.
Chisholm trying to separate herself a little bit from the 2 lanes next to her. Going into the last 50.
Going to the last 50 here, Unke-Chika. That lead continuing to grow for herself. In second, Kaya Joyal. In 3rd still, the 6th lane, and Mila Saltel. And let's see what will happen here. Will be Kaya Joyal trying to catch up to Unke-Chika, but Chisholm Unke-Chika looks like she will take it, and she does. With a time of 2:40.42 seconds. Kaya Joyal coming in 2nd place in the 4th lane, and in the 6th lane, Mila Saltel.
This is a time for Chisholm to keep an eye on here. 2:40.42. That actually puts her 3rd right now based on entry times from the last heat in the 15 and over category. So we'll have to watch that time. See if she somehow managed to sneak into a medal position out of heat 1, surprisingly. That remains to be seen.
And the Unke-Chika name has been mentioned a lot here this weekend on the broadcast. Very talented family of swimmers as we've seen here this weekend.
Yeah, we got 3 of them all competing for the Mansa Swim Club, doing extremely well. Lots of speed, technically strong swimmers as well. So they're being coached well, which is good to see. See Chisholm anchored that relay yesterday. I thought the roof was going to come off in that building here, and that girls' 200-meter medley relay. There was a lot of excitement there, and I think she pulled off at 27 seconds in that 50 on the anchor leg. An amazing swim.
Yeah, and they got loud at points here, especially in the relays, and probably the most exciting event in the way, just in terms of the team coming together truly to try to win that one.
Yeah, no, it's just nice with a little spirit. I think the Federation is trying to discourage the cheering because of COVID concerns, and that's on. But these kids threw all caution to the wind, said to hell with that. We're going to yell for our teammates, and yeah, it's hard to blame them.
Tough to take away the emotion in sports, right?
100%.
It's a huge part of any sport, really,
Yeah.
and swimming doesn't fall short in that aspect.
No, I think the coaches let them do it. Referees kind of put away the whistle and let them play. it's been a long haul for them, so let them have a little bit of fun. They deserve it.
This is the third heat in the girls 200-meter backstroke. And taking a look at it, trying to find my place here. Yes, the third heat out of 5, but it is the second heat.
Yeah, heat number 2 was eliminated when they moved Michaela into the first heat. There was a scratch there in heat number 1. Freed up a space for her. Save a little bit of time this morning. Get everybody out of here in a timely manner. Enjoy their Sunday. So this is the second heat, but really heat number 3 in your program.
And leading the way right now in lane number 4 is Annika Dick. And following right behind her is Naomi Robotham, who is in lane 3. And Emily McKay, taking a look at her, she is one of the 3 11-year-olds that were supposed to be in this event. That are in this event. Of course, there were supposed to be 3 12-year-olds, but Avery Blue got scratched out of the lineup for this heat.
Yeah, turned at 100 here. Coming into the 125 turn, 75 meters to go. Let's see if any of these other girls can give Annika a race for the money. She's looking very strong. Somebody's really going to have to pick it up in order to try to wrestle away this first place from her.
And in second position at this point is Naomi Robotham. In third in lane 6 is Chloe Park. Kate Liebrick is in fourth at this point. And in last it is Emily McKay. But it is Annika Dick with a very strong performance here. She's coming up near the end of this race. She will be looking to finish strong, like any swimmer would want. And let us see if Naomi Robotham can make some distance. Seems like she won't be able to, but looks like she will have a time that will be good enough to put her in second in this heat for the finish. And she does just that, finishing second.
Annika just over 3 minutes here, entered in a time of 3:07, so she managed to save about 6 seconds off her best time.
And in third there in that race was Chloe Park in the 6th lane. Kate Liebrick coming in at 4th. She was in the 5th lane. And now coming in to end things off here.
Yeah, Emily McKay showing a lot of speed on this last 25. She's got a little too much energy left, maybe. I'll learn to pace herself a little bit better. She's still young. She's 11 years old. And she's got a lot to learn, but yeah.
So, of course, we've been streaming all the events this weekend here, Bo. But as a coach, having this on tape, being able to see it, for these swimmers, how huge is that? Being able to have a chance to potentially go over tape.
Oh, it's really exciting. Something that the coaches are taking a lot of advantage of actually on a daily basis. They got underwater cameras. They stick in the pool. They can film underwater, watch their stroke, watch if they're dropping their elbows or doing something that's inefficient for their pull. So that's something that coaches are almost doing on a weekly basis, pulling kids out of the water. They got television sets on the side of the pool deck where they can watch them. But this is exciting for the kids to be able to go back themselves, watch their race, especially now that parents can't be on deck and video film their children. This is such an asset. Very exciting for these kids to get to watch themselves race.
Chloe Chow out in front in lane number 4. In second at this point in lane 6 is Ariana Arcaro. Looking at the outside lane here in lane 1, making some good strides is Noella Champagne. And taking a look at it, of course, this being the fourth heat. In the lead at this point, Chloe Chow.
Chloe Chow keeping a very high stroke rate. She's out fast. Let's see if looks like lane number 5, Ariel Patz, a teammate from the Marlins, is starting to move up a little bit. Let's see who's got the stronger last 100. It's a very close race.
And right now, it is a close one with Chloe Chow leading. Right behind her in the 5th lane, right beside her, Ariel Patz. In the 6th lane in 3rd, Ariana Arcaro. And in 4th place in lane 1, going to be tough for her to catch up, but nonetheless.
Well, we got another 50 to go, so we're coming into the second last turn here. Very close race with the two teammates in lane 4 and 5. Looks like Ariel Patz have taken over the lead here.
And it is Ariel Patz who has taken over the lead. In second place now in this heat so far is Chloe Chow. And that all-important turn and push-off coming up here. In 3rd place is, in the 6th lane, Ariana Arcaro. And really separating herself here from the pack. Late in this race is Ariel Patz in lane 5. Ariana Arcaro now making a push to get into that 2nd place spot. And it will be Ariel Patz finishing in 1st. And it will be Ariana Arcaro finishing strong, finishing in 2nd. Chloe Chow, who was leading for most of this race, finishes in 3rd. She was in the 4th lane. And Noella Champagne in that 1st lane. No, not a top 3 finish, finishing in 4th place.
Ariana Arcaro there in lane number 6, a very strong butterflyer and breaststroker, traditionally making the moves here in the backstroke. And that's what you see, some of these swimmers who may be all overqualified in the best event to swim in the secondary events here. And that's just great to help them being well-rounded swimmers, help their individual medley. Because you never know. You might be a breaststroker when you're 10, but you may end up being a butterfly or a freestyler when you're 20. So it's good to work on all 4 strokes when you're young. And you can specialize later on.
How often do you see like true all-around just strong swimmers that aren't only strong in like the freestyle event, but also strong in events like the breaststroke and the backstroke?
Well, quite often you see anyone who's a freestyler, they're usually pretty good in backstroke too. They're sort of similar strokes. A breaststroke is sort of the outlier. That kick is just a little bit different, technically very difficult. So quite often freestylers or backstrokers will struggle maybe in breaststroke because it's very kick dominated as opposed to arm dominated. But it can all be learned.
Right. And now, in lane 7, leading this race right now, Julia Pedrosa. But in lane 2 here, Bo, making a strong move, making some moves, is the sister, I believe, Isadora Pedrosa.
Yeah, 2 sisters from Mansa Swim Club, Julia and Isadora. 15 and 17 years old. Going head to head.
In lane 4, in 2nd place, is Abby Diebert. But still in 1st place in the 7th lane, Julia Pedrosa. It looks like it's tough to tell who is in the running for 3rd place at this point, in terms of who is ahead of who. It's in between. It is between, I believe, the 3rd and 8th lane right now, as well as the 2nd lane making some strides into that, trying to get into the top 3.
Yeah, Julia Pedrosa is on a mission. She is not going to let her sister catch her. Great stroke rate, very good push-off, nice underwater dolphin kicks.
And Julia Pedrosa out in front, looking to finish this one strong. And it will be Julia Pedrosa finishing with a time of 2:36.02. Finishing in second there, Abby Diebert in the fourth lane. And in the third lane, in third place in the eighth lane, Madison Reimer. Finishing, Emerson Brick finishing in last place, who was in lane 1. That was the last heat for the girls 200-meter backstroke. We are now going into the boys 200-meter backstroke, and this will be the first out of 4 heats in this event.
Yeah, we got some mixed age groups in this heat. 12, 13, 15-year-olds, all from the Manitoba Marlins, before we moving into the 11 to 13-year-old final after this, then the 14-15 final, followed by the 16 and over final. But this is a mixed age group. They can still get a chance at a medal if they put on a good performance here in heat number 1.
It is Drew Culleton in lane 3, Bailey Ross in lane 4, Addie Bailey Ross in lane 4, and Ahmed Banani in lane 5. And the oldest of this group currently in the lead, and that is Drew Culleton. Comes in at 15 years old when Bailey Ross is 13, and Banani is 12 years old, all, of course, swimming for the Manitoba Marlins. So, with all these different clubs, of course, the Manitoba Marlins, the Manta Swim Club, and then all the other clubs, the Dolphin Swim Club, is there a ranking system in terms of which clubs rank in front of the others?
Well, actually what they're doing here, this meet, is you're collecting points for your individual high trophy. You're battling for medals for yourself. You're also racking up points for your team score. So at the end of the day, there will be a team score overall for girls, and there'll be a team score for boys, and then there'll be a combined. So I think right now Marlins are leading that charge. The overall team score for the boys, Manta is leading it for the girls, and we'll see at the end of the day if that stays that way. They both got pretty commanding leads on the boys and girls side, but the combined is still up for grabs depending on how things go today. So there's a lot of prestige in those standings, especially as you're moving on to the higher level meets with Mansas coming up here in a few weeks. And not so much maybe between the Manitoba clubs, but between the Manitoba and Saskatchewan clubs, there's a bit more of a rivalry.
Right.
Regina has taken home that prize for the last number of years, Regina Optimus Dolphins, and we like to get that crown back to Manitoba.
Have you been able to check out any of the results that Regina has had in their swimming competitions?
Yeah, not recently. Sometimes it's been difficult with travel, obviously, the past couple of years here. So this Mansas will be the first time we've had that. They canceled Mansas 2 years ago, 2020, half an hour before warm-up started.
Yeah.
All the swimmers were here. Had to pull the plug on it last minute because of COVID concerns, and that was right early on in the pandemic. So that was canceled. Last year was canceled. And now 2022, we're finally looking like we're going to be back at it. And it'll be very interesting to see how everybody has fared through the pandemic. All these different provinces has had different restrictions and different access to pools, and it's hard to keep track of who's been doing what. So it'll be eye-opening.
Yeah. You must have to think, like, when that day comes of Mansask starting, with it being, postponed, like canceled for the last 2 years, it must be pretty surreal, that moment when it does come to see, all the swimmers back to normal almost.
Yeah. No, I mean, it sounds like here in Manitoba the mask mandate is going to be lifted right before this meet takes off. So hopefully we'll get some people in the stands and get some cheerleading going and some excitement building here again. Help these kids put on some good times.
And ASTV Productions will be there on that weekend to cover the Mansask events, so might see you around once again, Bo. Might have to get you on the mic once again.
All right, well, let me know when you have an opening. I'll be happy to be here.
We're into the second heat of the 200-meter backstroke for the boys. And it is right now Lucas Buick out in front. But once again, Rimso Unke Chika, another member of the Unke Chika family, in contention here to potentially take first as this race goes along.
He's got a very nice stroke. You can watch his hands. They're coming up in the surface a little bit. He's pulling a little bit of air. Coaches are going to have a look at that, maybe have a look at your video and see what they can do to help him. Just maybe rotate a little bit more, pull a little bit deeper. Make sure you keep holding the water, because right now you're slipping a bit. If you see those bubbles around the hands, that's not something you generally want to see, because you're not holding the water, you're pulling air, and that doesn't get you anywhere. But he's making up for it. First part of his stroke is very good.
It is Unke Chika and Buick looking like they'll be in contention for the first place in this heat. In third, trying to make his move in the fifth lane, is Carson Bahura. And so tough to tell, so close to tell if it's Lucas Buick or Unke Chika, but it is Buick leading right now. Looking like Unke Chika could potentially be making his move into first, and they're pretty much mirroring each other at this point going into the final turn.
Yeah, we got a 25 to go. Let's see who's coming off this wall strong. Oh, here comes Unke Chika. Looks like he's got an extra gear.
An extra gear to give Unke Chika coming down the final 25 meters here. Will he edge out Lucas Buick for first? And he does. Rimso Unke Chika add another win into his weekend in his heat. And what a race between Buick and Unke Chika there. The races that really got to get the fans here fired up with how close it was.
Yeah, that's just exciting to watch.
Not the fans here, but the fans at home.
Right, yeah. Hopefully they're jumping around the living room.
Yeah.
With the 14, 15-year-old final coming up. Got Stephen Bannock again in lane number 3. He's had a very good weekend. Mahinder Singh over in lane 7. Devin Lusk in lane 8. Keep an eye out for lane 8. He has been on fire this weekend.
He had a pretty dominant victory in one of his heats yesterday.
Yeah.
Mahinder Singh, another swimmer to keep an eye on. He's looked pretty strong this weekend as well.
Yeah, definitely.
But to start things off, it is lane 8, Devin Lusk. Let's see how strong he will perform here throughout these 200 meters.
Jack Coots in lane number 4 from UMann, going in as the favorite. He's not going to let these guys get away with it without a fight.
Looks like he is in about second or third place here. It is tough to tell. Coots, Singh. Well, Coots now gaining the advantage on Mahinder Singh, but it is Devin Lusk once again dominant. And it is still Devin Lusk out in front. Going into another turn here. Mahinder Singh in second place right now. But trying to catch up is Jack Coots in lane 4, and in lane 3 of Stephen Bannock. You know, just looking at it, Devin Lusk, such a dominant performance once again. As good as Mahinder Singh might be swimming here, I mean, Devin Lusk has just been leading this entire time. What impresses you the most about the way this kid swims?
He's pretty rough technically. You look at him; he's making some mistakes. He's pulling a lot of air. He doesn't get far off of the walls, but he's got incredible This incredible stroke rate, high on the water, and he just wants it more than anyone else, I think. Popping right up. Like, look at Stephen Bannig in lane number 3. She's coming off the wall here. Watch his underwater. Perfect streamline, dolphin kicking, 6, 7, 8 meters, probably tired at the end here, so not as far as you were on other terms. Devin Lusk doesn't do any of that. He just powers through. He gets up and he swims and he races, and there's no stopping him. And he's excited about that swim.
He is fired up, slamming the ground, pumped up, fired up, and it's going to be Mahinder Singh coming in at second, in third, Stephen Bannock. But looking at it, the kids, the swimmers that aren't as sound technically as others, like you made the comparison to Bannock and Lusk. Like you said, do you think it's that power that's going for Lusk that gives him an advantage to not be as technical and can get away with it?
Well, he can certainly get away with it at this level. He's going to have to clean some things up. I think as the years goes on, he's still young and lots of time ahead of him. But if he starts cleaning up some of these things, he's going to be really dangerous at the next level. So he's sort of a diamond in the rough. It'll be exciting to watch where he goes.
And Devin Lusk, 15 years old, coming away with the win here. It will be the final heat of the 200-meter backstroke boys event. Of course, the 36th event of the weekend here, wrapping up very soon. And coming up after this, it is going to be some shorter races coming up. The girls' 50-meter freestyle event, which will be event 7. But first, gotta see who is going to come away with the win here in the final heat of this event for the boys. And right now, it's looking like Tanner Sanders is out in front. And this is very interesting because Sanders has had a good weekend, but Natty Vaserman has looked really good as well. They're both going up against each other. Of course, Sanders in the third lane, Vaserman in the fourth. Yeah,
and two completely different styles here. Tanner Sanders got a nice smooth stroke, very long, good distance per stroke. Natty Vaserman's got an incredible stroke rate. His breaststroke was unbelievable, but he's powering through here as well. We'll see if he can keep that up for a 200. That'll be hard, but he seems very physically fit, and he seems to be keeping it up so far.
The quickness on Vaserman's strides, the smoothness of Sanders' stride here of his stroke. And all three of these swimmers here, including Hunter Daly in the fifth lane, all from the Manitoba Marlins Swim Club. But it is Tanner Sanders out in front still. Natty Vaserman, though, won't be going down without a fight here.
Oh, absolutely. These boys are out in 107. Entered in best times of 2:26 for Natty Vaserman and 2:35 for Tanner Sanders. They're going to blow those times away, and they're helping each other get there. They're really pushing each other here.
And Natty Vaserman has not let up his pace here, keeping the same pace, which is impressive with the very quick stroke that he has.
Yeah, he's got to be running out of gas. I don't know how he can keep this up, but he seems to be able to. He seems to even be picking it up.
You got to think he can get away with more of those quicker starts in a 200 compared to like a 800 meter race that we saw on Friday night.
Right, for sure. Yeah, that would be tough. But backstroke of all things, where you really want to keep a high stroke rate. So, wow, this is close.
And who's it gonna be? It's gonna be Tanner Sanders, just edging out Natty Vaserman. Hunter Daly will come in third in this race in lane 5. And an exciting end to the backstroke portion of things for the boys.
Yeah, very close race.
Well, it looks as if we only have 3 more events here to go. Coming up now, it will be the girls' 50-meter freestyle.
Yeah, and this is a classic event in swimming. This is the all-out sprint. Any stroke you want to do is just freestyle. Everybody does traditional front crawl because it is the fastest. But
and here we go. We are off. And right now out in front in the 4th and 5th lane is Carbonell Fraser in the 5th lane, Lou in the 4th lane. And now it's going to be close between these two coming down the stretch. Looking like Carbonell Fraser has the advantage here coming down the final 25 meters of this race. Cal Carbonell Fraser looking to edge out Avery Blue, and she does exactly that.
These girls are dropping huge amount of time. So that just shows that we haven't had a lot of meets this year. And they've done a lot of growth in the meantime. This is a combined heat with para swimming as well. Got Lily and Avery making their way to the finish.
And it looks like it will be Lily who will come away with it.
Yeah, they again likely in two completely different categories. So there may be two separate gold medals here in their individual bracket.
As we finish up here, the next heat starting up shortly will feature 8 swimmers on the sheet that we got here. But we'll have to see if there are any swimmers that are no-shows coming up here in this next heat. Talking about swimmers who stand out in this group, who you expect to take this one?
Well, I see the name Brianna Paul. She's had a strong meet over in lane 6. She's also one of the older swimmers in this heat. Sometimes with the younger swimmers, you see them dropping a ton of time all of a sudden. So don't discount lane number 5 as the 11-year-old.
And speaking of speed, Liebrich in the 5th lane has a ton of it right now. She is in good contention for first place in this whole heat. And let's see what happens. Lane 2 also making a push. Making a push as well as lane 6 as Brianne Powell, as mentioned before. But in lane 2, it's going to be Naomi Robotham. This is going to be a close one. It looks like lane 5 may take it, though. That is going to be Liebrich. What will happen here? And that will be Naomi Robotham taking the win here. Edging out Liebrich and Gaslard. And that was a close one right there, Bo.
That's right. Heat number 3 coming up. Grace Metcalf in lane number 4. We've seen her younger sister dominating the ton and under category this weekend. See if her older sister can follow that up. We got to get up and swim. Can't stay under too long unless you're really strong. The dolphin kick.
And that extra time underwater might have paid off for Gabriel Aaliyah. But looking at lane 3 here, it is Mila Neuber. Neuber looking like she's going to get the win here. It will be close. Can she finish strong in the 5th lane? Gabriel Aaliyah, but it will be Mila Neuber who does come away with the win here in lane 3.
Yeah, making the paw proud. Make that road trip worthwhile. Good swim for her.
Coming up on heat number 4 now. Coming in with the best time in terms of seed time. Ava Savard in lane 4, also 13 years old. And let's see how she fares in this race. Taking a look at the leader right now. I believe
it's just way too close to tell at this point. Lane 7 is up there. Lane 2.
Lane 7, lane 5 as well. Oh, this is going to be a close one. Lane 8 also making some strides.
Well,
right
Callie
now.
Oliver out in lane 2.
This is going to be Callie Oliver as well. It's going to be close, but it's looking like lane 5 is going to take it here, and that is Kate Horn, and she does. Coming in second Ava Savard. And one of the closest races all weekend long.
Yeah, that could have been anyone's.
Going into Heat 5 now. Out of the 9 heats that will be happening.
Yeah, this is the final heat before we get into the last heat before we get into the final heats that's divided up into each age group. This is the last heat of the mixed age groups here. Another extremely close race.
It's looking like lane 6 has a bit of an advantage, though, and in lane 6, that is Kea Joyelle. But looking at it here, oh, it's going to be close once again. Lane 2 making a strong push. Lane 5 as well, which is Bazin Rodriguez, but it is going to be lane 6 of Kea Joyelle, and she will take it. And once again, another close race, and the viewers at home must be enjoying these races right now.
Yeah, we have 9 heats, but this is going by quick.
This is the 10 and under final coming up.
That's right. This is a 10 and under. We got 4 of them here, so they'll be battling for 3 medals. Oh, lane number 4 looked like off to a little bit of an early start. Let's see if the referees caught that one.
And that would be Maya Booth.
That could be costly, unless they let her get away with it.
Out in front right now in lane number 3, Sinchishan. And it is Sinchishan still with the lead. Michaela looking to finish off strong here down the line, looking to stay in first. What's going to happen? Julia Metcalf looking to catch her potentially along with Addison Madden, but it will be Michaela Sinchishan with the win here, and Maya Booth coming in at 4th. Will be interesting to see what the officials do, if they will disqualify her for that.
Yeah, you have to stand. After you take your marks, they wait for you to stand completely still before they set off the gun. And if anyone moves prior to that, it's deemed a false start.
Going into heat number 7 now.
Heat number 7. This is the final for the 11, 12-year-olds. We got Sadie Blatcher over in lane number 7, who took the gold medal in the 200 freestyle over the very, very strong second half of that race. Didn't look like she had the up-front speed, but she had the closing speed. Let's see if she can do something coming back in the last 25, but it looks like it's going to be in the middle of the pool here.
It will be close. It's looking like lane 3 has the advantage here in Brittany Duong. Can Duong finish it off? Trying to edge out lanes 4 and 5, and she does that. Duong edging out Dela Cruz and Safinik for first place. Dela Cruz coming in at 2nd, and Emma Safinik coming in 3rd. And coming up next after these next 2 heats will be the boys' 50-meter freestyle.
Yeah, what we got here is a 13, 14-year-old girls final. Got Quinn Snively, who's out for the early lead in lane number 5. She's motivated here. She's in the running for the High Point Trophy as well. Looks like she's not going to let her
Everyone
grip on that
chasing.
one.
Everyone chasing Snively here, trying to chase her down, trying to gain some distance on her. But Quinn Snively, as she has all weekend long, another strong performance from her.
Excellent race there. Only person under 30 seconds. That's a nice barrier to break for a young swimmer. Great swim.
The final heat for the girls' 50-meter freestyle event is upon us. Coming in with the best time, Madison Reimer. Can she best her opponents in this race? In lane 6, it's Appraise Zenon, who's had a very good day so far for herself. Can she have another win here in the 100 meter. It's going to be close. It's Apres Zenon along with Madison Reimer. Will it be Apres Zenon or Reimer? It will be Apres Zenon coming in with the win here, edging out Madison Reimer. Mika Tankula also close as well, but the 9 heats here for the girls 50-meter freestyle, Bo, did not disappoint whatsoever.
No, multiple swimmers under 30 seconds in that last heat. Lots of speed.
This is the second last event of the day. It's the boys 50-meter freestyle event 38. And we will finish off with one heat of mixed 200-meter medley relay. But starting off here, it is Kaylin Booth who is out in front. In second, in lane 3 is Ethan Lang. In third is Luke Stibbard. All swimmers being from Manta. But it's Kaylin Booth with a strong performance here, looking to finish it off. Gaining ground on him. In the 5th lane is going to be Luke Stibbard. Will Booth hang on? Looks like he might, and he will.
Great start to the event here. These boys shaving lots of time off.
And Quang Lee coming into this next one. Would you say he's the favorite for this event?
I would say so. He had a very good weekend.
We will have to see what happens. It is Asher Dalhouse with a good start. He's out in front. But in 4th, there is Quang Lee.
Lane number 1. Swell for a strong start.
Watching lane 1, Byron Boehm trying to catch up, but it looks like it is Asher Dalhouse. Looks like he will take it over Quang Lee. And Quang Lee finishes in 2nd. Dalhouse finishes in 1st. Byron Boehm finishes in 3rd, and he was in the 1st lane. And a nice race there from Asher Dalhouse, 13-year-old. Heat number 3 here coming up. And Dennis Mosienko in the 2nd lane, looking to add some more hardware for himself this weekend, but it is close to tell right here. I believe lane 7, it is lane 4 right now, and Colliver Busy, who I believe is still in the lead. Looking at that 6th lane now is Matthew McKay. Matthew McKay may take this one. Matthew McKay, can he finish? And he does. He finishes strong.
A lot of unknowns early on here. See if they can make a name for themselves. Really important to limit your breathing in a 50 freestyle. The oxygen you take it in, it really won't get to your muscles before this race is over. So if you can avoid taking that breath without passing out, that's what you want to try to do. See a lot of swimmers try to maybe take one breath before they get to the turn, and then maybe one second one halfway through the second lap. But if you're taking a lot more than that, you're really slowing